Hello and welcome, everybody. I am Lisa Miller. I will be moderating today. Adrian will be our speaker, and we will have 20 minutes of information, and then we'll have about 10 minutes of questions. I will let Adrian take over. Thanks, everyone.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I was just talking to Lisa about how much fun this has been so far. This is the first time we've done this conference, as y'all know, and it's just been really fun. So I hope y'all have enjoyed it as much as I have. My topic's a little different than some of the others. And this is funny to me, not having as interactive as a topic or Zoom meeting as usual. So hopefully I can make this casual and enjoyable still without feeling like I'm just preaching to y'all. But my topic is a little on the science side, but as you'll see, it's really applicable and I think really fits in with the sports community and has a lot of applications for how we can use this in the field. So my topic is novel intermittent hypoxic breathing method. And what we're looking at in this, I'm going to call it a pilot study. This is a research line that myself and my colleagues listed there are working on. Is basically we're trying to mimic a hypoxic environment just with breathing techniques. There are a lot of ways to mimic a hypoxic environment, but none of them are free. And so we're trying to figure that out because there are a lot of benefits. So what we specifically looked at with this data that I'm going to present in short, and then talk about some of the greater topics at large are, we looked at the difference in blood oxygen levels following intermittent hypoxic breathing. And then we also looked after 12 weeks of doing this protocol that I'm going to discuss. We looked at waist circumference, resting metabolic rate, and body composition. And the population we looked at specifically were women with obesity. So I hope this is helpful. On the next slide, I actually had one of my colleagues, AJ Fisher, there. She's unfortunately not able to join us today, but I had her kind of give an overview of why this matters anyway, why hypoxia or hypoxic training is potentially beneficial for a variety of populations. And then we'll tie that into the athlete here in a little while. So she's recorded that for us, and we're going to listen to her just for a second, and then we'll get on with our methodologies that we've used.
There are a cornucopia of benefits of hypoxic strength and cardio training. What was once known as a modality mostly only used by elite athletes to improve their endurance via red blood cell production is now strongly supported by research for anti-aging, including enhancement of several areas, including cardiovascular, cognition, including Alzheimer's, blood glucose, body composition, bone density, asthma, and much, much more. While the general population could highly benefit from utilizing altitude or hypoxic training, it is limited in its availability because of location, having to go to the mountains, or cost. Hypoxic chambers and machines are very, very expensive. Even though normal baric hypoxia is much more affordable than hypobaric pressurized units that cost millions of dollars, it is still unfeasible for most to consider this as an option. Additionally, this equipment can be difficult to use and requires a trained professional in this area to assist with the tools and the programming. This is where our research gets really, really exciting because we are using intermittent hypoxic breathing effectively to reduce safely the blood oxygen to levels that are seen in altitude training. We are seeing that these blood oxygen levels can be sustained during exercise, mimicking altitude training. And here's where it gets even more exciting. For this methodology, it's very simple. You do not need a trained professional at home with you. It's free and it's highly available. You don't have to go to a mountain. You can just stay in your home. We are so incredibly excited to continue our pursuits in this area of research. Seeing that we can reduce those blood oxygen levels to areas where we can increase the transcription factor of hypoxia inducible factor to send the signals to our body to upregulate the factors that need to be upregulated to see positive adaptations in the body. Well, this is really exciting. And previous research has shown that breath control, slowing the exhalation down, and also performing breath retentions is successful in increasing factors that are also increased at altitude. We are super excited to continue working on the effects of hypoxic breathing during exercise, as it is such a highly practical modality that could be utilized by many, many people around the world.
So that was AJ Fisher. She is an alum of APUS, and it's been such a joy working with her alongside with a few other collaborators in this research. But she really highlighted, I think the most important thing to remember about this methodology that we're so excited about is that anyone can use it. Literally, you right now could use it while you're watching this. You could run out to your garage, workout area and use that in a training session without having any equipment at all. It is safe, it is effective, and we're going to get into what the method actually is. But just to give a sneak peek of why I think this specifically relates to athletes is, first of all, we know the benefits of hypoxic training in general, like at altitude. We can increase red blood cells, we can increase aerobic endurance, etc. Tons of studies on that. But what's exciting about this too is there is now a methodology that someone could use maybe in injury recovery. It can improve injury healing and help them maintain a fitness level that is going to get them back to play sooner while limiting the amount of impact on their body, muscles, joints, etc. So it's super exciting. So we'll just get into, this says introduction, although I've been talking for a while. So just some of the points that I want to point out here are, we already know that intermittent hypoxic training is highly effective at improving body composition. There are some studies. Dr. Warrens has done quite a bit of research on this, and we are excited to continue down that path as well. So we're looking at body composition. We did look at some of that data in this kind of pilot study that we're going to talk about. And then using some strategic breath holds can help lower blood oxygen levels to those seen in a hypoxic environment. So I know the thing that always comes to mind is like Denver or somewhere like that. Your blood oxygen levels do drop, and using this breathing protocol, we can get to those levels wherever we are. I'm in South Carolina. We are not in the mountains. It's called low country for a reason. So this is really useful and accessible to anyone. And then we do have some research by Dr. Warrens and a few others that does show that we can lower those Sp02 levels in an athletic population. We are looking at different populations, but it's exciting to see that this can work in a big variety of populations, for lack of a better term. So our research question was, does this breathing methodology, and I'll talk specifically about that, but we have an exhale of 8 seconds with elements of breath holds and forced exhalations as well. Does using this breathing methodology with a functional movement workout for 12 weeks get us greater improvements? Does it change our Sp02 levels, and does it get us greater improvements in body composition? The reason we were interested in body composition is if you are a personal trainer or a strength and conditioning coach, a lot of people have a goal, whether they're athletes or average population, of improving their body composition. We obviously know the health benefits of that. So that is just such a big target of any client that we're going to work with, regardless of the population we're looking at. So we really wanted to see the impacts of that. Before we get to the quick results, I do want to go over the methods because to me, this is really the biggest finding. We did a 12-week study of functional training. We had 2 groups, one that used the breath methodology and one that was obviously a control group. And then we measured their Sp02 levels using a pulse ox during those exercises to see if they did indeed reach the same levels as they would with, say, a hypoxic mask or in a hypoxic environment. Then we measured body composition, waist circumference, and resting metabolic rate to kind of see what was going on in this environment. So this is a video of us explaining this breathing protocol and kind of guiding a client. And in the next slide, I'll talk about why we do it specifically this way and why we created these specific sounds that we use, which is unique and novel to us. But I'm going to let you just see an example here of what this looks like. Now, as she's going to do this, just know that it is a quick inhale, a long extended exhale, and then a breath hold. But there are some sounds that we'll talk about here in a little while as well. So this is kind of what it looks like if you were to do this methodology.
Okay, so let's take it from the zip up activation. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, inhale 2, and blow. Piss. Shish. Loud shish. Double. Inhale 1, 2, blow. Double. Inhale. Last 1, 2, blow. Now we're holding. Excellent.
All right, so after that breath hold, that's when we would look at that SpO2 levels. And there's a lot of reasons, quite a bit of research that goes into why each of these steps are important. One of which is to make sure that we are controlling the breath and getting to a hypoventilation and not leading our clients or athletes into a state where they may hyperventilate. That clearly could lead to feeling dizzy, fainting as the worst possibility. But that has not been a concept. We've never had anyone had any issues with dizziness or anything using this format, because we do use some of these extended exhales with these specific sounds. So what this breath protocol looks like, it's a 2-second inhale, so pretty quick 2-second inhale, and then an 8-second exhale. But during that exhale, we use 4 distinct sounds. Now, the reason we use these sounds is because it really teaches the client. And remember, we are working with some athletes, but a lot of our population is the general population that isn't used to, thinking about specific, physiological responses happening on in their body. So we are teaching them these sounds, and they're able to more easily learn how to forcefully exhale and really get all that air out of the lungs in order to reach that hypoxic state. So those distinct sounds are just a regular breath, so like breathing out of a straw, like, and then a hiss, hiss, and then a soft shh, so shh, and then a loud shush, so shh. And using those, I'm sure that was very pleasant to listen to, but using those distinct sounds can help teach and cue the people going through the exercise to really get all of the air out of their lungs. Because if no one's ever done this before, it can seem very odd. So we don't want to just it's not just like a really easy methodology to just jump right in and you've never done it before. Oh, you'll know it, no problem. It is a learning curve, but once you learn it, it's totally comfortable. And using these forced exhalations allows people to get into that hypoventilation state and get all the air out of their lungs prior to the breath hold. Now that breath hold happens, and it can be anywhere from, on the short end, and this is going to be client dependent, it can be somewhere from like 6 seconds, but we would work all the way up to about 10 seconds once they were more experienced with this breath pattern. So just looking at some of the data that we gathered. Now remember, this is a pilot study. We only had a few participants go through the entire process, unfortunately. But we did find significant decreases in SpO2 levels. And so that was really exciting to see that difference in SpO2 and in the breath hold group. That's the biggest finding that we're excited about. Another thing that we saw significant improvements in RMR after that 12 weeks of training. So there were significant changes in that hypoxic group that was using the breath hold pattern. So we're thinking that this is something we're hoping to explore further in the future. We're thinking that a change in metabolic rate might be one of the underlying mechanisms for some of the other adaptations and improvements we see with hypoxic training or a hypoxic breathing protocol during training. Now, I will say, remember, these people, these participants did not go through an intense workout. It was a functional, low intensity workout. They did work out 4 times a week, and they saw a significant improvement in resting metabolic rate. There was not a significant improvement in body fat percentage change, although there was a meaningful difference. It was about double what the control group lost. But when we looked at waist circumference, there was a significant difference. And so that's a big finding that we were excited about as well. So we're kind of seeing what might be, this is all, we need to follow up on, but we're seeing that metabolic rate might be the driving factor in seeing some of these better improvements. So like I said, we want to see if a change in RMR is the mechanism for what's going to lead to improved body composition results, and why this might be important specifically in athletes in recovery or rehab, or in clients who are overweight and obese, is that we can use lower intensity exercise that is reducing the stress on joints and muscles, but get the benefits of a higher intensity workout. So get those improvements in body composition. So that's really exciting. And then how does intermittent hypoxic breathing impact lactate levels? There's also some evidence indicating that it may impact your lactate threshold levels. And that's something that we're actually looking to look into actually in January of 25. We are starting recruitment for that study as we speak, and we're excited about checking that out and further testing our breathing methodology with that. And then lastly, what we want to do eventually is look at some the hypoxic factors and EPO to see if this breathing protocol can also yield long-term impacts. So there are short-term impacts of being in a hypoxic environment. There are also long-term impacts. So we're curious to see if not only do we get those short-term impacts of a drop in Sp02 and some of these other changes that we're seeing, but do we get those long-term impacts of, increased erythropoietin and obviously the downstream effects of that. So overall goal, we want to provide a free, accessible technique for someone wanting to get these benefits without having a high impact on their joints. So you can think of a ton of different opportunities and populations that might benefit from this. Specifically for athletes, I mentioned injury recovery. I see that as a big play here. It's also a good opportunity for them to maintain their fitness while they are recuperating or recovering from an injury. Maintain their fitness levels, maintain their aerobic capacity, and potentially maintain their body composition while not having an issue with stress on their joints and muscles. So that is all I have. I'm not sure if I went over or under or if I'm doing okay here, but if y'all have any questions, I'm going to take this slideshow. Let's see, we'll stop share here. And if y'all have questions, I am excited. Okay, let's see.
Yes.
To answer them for you guys.
And I am looking in the chat. I looked at our participant group, and I think we have some experts out there who would have much better questions than I might have. Although I am curious about convincing athletes, because this sounds wonderful, even for myself, especially as we age, having less impact on the joints. I never thought when I was 16 that I would ever care about that.
I know, right?
But become quite important now. So for that younger population of athletes, do you have some idea of how to convince them, like, this will help, but this is important?
That's a really good question, and I don't have a short answer. What I would say is, there's some evidence showing the increase in muscle mass even with using this protocol. So I think highlighting some of the benefits that you can actually, I don't want to sell you can work less and get more, but that's kind of what it is. And so I think another opportunity to explain this would be, hey, if you're on vacation or if you're on in season, I think I could see this being really helpful in season for athletes because they're able to get those benefits of hard out of season training, but in season. So without having that, potential injury increase. So I could see that being really helpful. I don't know how to convince them. Maybe we could get some coaches to help us on that front, because I am not a coach. But I would love to figure that out. But I do see the benefits, and I think the main thing would be selling them on the benefits and teaching them how easy the methodology is to adapt and adopt in their workout. So I think that might be the first step, is just having, and that's something that I think our research group would really be excited to do, is to provide some sort of resource in the future that coaches, or strength and conditioning coaches specifically, could help teach their athletes, so that there's not a lot of mystery around it, and so I think if we can do that and then sell it as a way to do in-season training and a recovery, I think that could be a big one, especially for a recovery. I think athletes are pretty motivated to get back to play, so that might be a good place to start.
That's just wonderful. Thank you so much. And I saw Dr. Gallivan mention about longevity of our careers. For me, I'm hoping, hope I can keep going, but
That's right.
Might help.
Yeah, it absolutely might. And that might even be a good population to start with also. I mean, all of us that, still hope we're competitive, but maybe
Yeah.
not. We might be a good population to start with, and then, see those benefits. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I want more ideas on how to sell this, but I do see the really big impacts. I also see it, I really see the injury prevention side of it being just so helpful. And I don't think that's an easy sell, because prevention is never an easy sell, because we don't know what we've prevented by, being healthy or, doing certain steps. But hopefully we can get it into the hands of some strength and conditioning coaches or some athletic trainers, and get it out there for athletes to actually practice. It'd be fun. Also, hey, you don't have to pay for it. So
Right. Thank you so much for the information, and thank you to all of our visitors. And I hope everybody is enjoying the conference. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank y'all so much. If y'all have any questions, just find me on the app and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye.